Life is like a play, and I want to try to become the main character in my own story. But before I can take center stage, no one knows how many nights I've stayed up, how many harsh words I've swallowed, how many winding roads I've walked that no one understood, or how many times I've held on despite being laughed at. The moments when my choices were denied and my dreams shattered by reality all eventually become the foreshadowing before the spotlight shines on me. The real main character is never some god or demon. It's me, Painter Bao. Welcome to the final episode of the 100,000 to 1 million live trading challenge. Space Mobile is the name standing at the crossroads in a coming era of space battles. Its ultimate goal is to eliminate all mobile network dead zones worldwide, allowing ordinary smartphones to connect directly to satellite broadband without any hardware modifications. It's going to build a massive base station in outer space, so even if you're out on the waves of the Pacific or in the middle of a deserted wilderness, the sky above you can deliver a full 5G signal. My connection with this company began when its stock was at 3 yuan. As for 30 yuan, well, that's right, I sold too early. But maybe it was exactly because that farewell was so rushed that I couldn't stop thinking about it and wanted to pick up where I left off. Now, taking advantage of the momentum from SpaceX's IPO in June, I've decided to make my final test trade. I'm dedicating it to AST Space Mobile. The trade will first pick the right target, then find an entry point. You need to see why I'm long on AST Space Mobile. First, it's bottom fishing. I believe the recent drop stems from short-term negative sentiment and unfavorable trading mechanisms. The long-term fundamentals remain unaffected. The second reason is that SpaceX is expected to go public around June, which will bring even more catalysts to the space sector and attract more capital inflows. Please keep these 2 points in mind. I'll elaborate on them later. For now, just make sure you understand them. With clear logic and a great entry point, I didn't hesitate. On May 10th, right before Q1 earnings, I publicly announced my buy. This is my life's biggest investment, and I'm betting everything. After the May 11th close, AST Space Mobile reported. Revenue and EPS missed, and the stock plunged. Just like with Meta, I was again the internet's laughingstock. It seemed like everything was telling me I had made the wrong decision, but how could I give up so easily? If fate is testing me at my final chapter, then I'll burn my own corpse for fuel and find new life in the face of death. Most of you have no idea about the underlying logic behind my long positions. No matter how clearly I explain it, you only believe what you see, only trust what you already believe. You try to measure a world beyond your understanding with your own limited perspective and ignorance. To those who look down on me, I want to say thank you, because your lack of approval only makes me more certain that I'm right. Let's start by combining technical analysis to explain how I determine this bottom. Here, the indicator I'm using, let me first give a quick explanation for those who aren't familiar with it, is the KDJ. And how exactly should you read it? Take a look at the 3 lines at the bottom of my chart, the ones that move up and down like waves. Those are the KDJ indicator. You can think of it as a mood chart and an energy gauge for a stock. Among them, the purple J line is the most sensitive and reacts the fastest to changes in stock price direction. The blue K line has medium sensitivity, and the D line is the slowest but also the most stable. When it comes to using KDJ, you really just need to remember 4 words: oversold and golden cross. Next, let's look at a real example with ASTs. Focus your attention on the chart, specifically the period from early May to mid-May. The first step is to look for oversold conditions. You'll notice that during this earlier pullback, all 3 KDJ lines dropped sharply together. All of them dropped to the very bottom, which is the area below 20. In technical analysis, this area is called the oversold zone. What does that mean? It means that most of the panic selling in the market has already happened. The bear strength has pretty much been exhausted, and the stock price is starting to have trouble falling any further. Using it is like a spring that's been compressed to its limit, ready to bounce back at any moment. And then the most crucial signal appeared. On May 7th, the fastest moving black line, also known as Jason, suddenly turned upward and forcefully broke through the blue line and the orange line from below. In technical analysis, this move is called a bullish crossover at a different position. And in the KDJ system, a bullish crossover at a low position is usually considered a very strong bullish signal. If you look at the chart, after the crossover formed, didn't the three lines start to spread upward at a very steep angle? This often means that a lot of bullish capital is quickly entering the market and the upward momentum is starting to strengthen significantly. On the news front, a week ago on May 14th, CNBC reported that SpaceX's prospectus would be released during the week of May 18th to May 24th, and along with this news, there was also unusual activity in the capital flows, with a large amount of money pouring into the space sector, getting in early to take positions. With the release of the prospectus and the subsequent IPO, the space sector will continue to attract attention thanks to ongoing news coverage. As for the three giants of the space sector, they'll be closely tied to SpaceX and Rocket Lab, sharing in both the successes and the setbacks together. Looking at the macro structure options, I noticed that ASTS's options trading volume has surged, ranking 12th among all US stocks, right alongside Amazon, Microsoft, and AMD. And you have to realize, ASTS is just a small cap company, yet its options volume is on par with these giants. This shows that a large amount of capital is betting on ASTS through options. And if we look at the put-call ratio, we'll see that among the top 13 stocks with the lowest ratios, the put-call ratios are all between 0.3 and 0.9, while AST's put-call ratio is just 0.22. This means there are very few puts and a lot of calls. Almost all the options in the market are bullish calls. This brings a lot of upward momentum and the possibility of a gamma squeeze. After analyzing the macro option structure, I also found from the micro option structure that the 105 calls and the 100 calls are overwhelmingly dominant, each with over 10,000 open interest contracts. This means that as the stock price approaches 100, there could be a sudden move. During a gamma squeeze, market makers are forced to buy more shares to hedge, which further pushes the stock price up. On Thursday, I predicted a gamma squeeze would happen, and on Friday, the stock price indeed experienced a gamma squeeze, first breaking 100 and then 105. It reached 105.86. From news, fundamentals, technicals, and all 7 aspects, I found bullish signals resonating together. That's why I went all in on AST this week. As for why I chose to do single leg calls, this week is the final battle of my live trading challenge. Forget envy. It's about the decisive move. It's not quitting, but locking in a single leg hero call. Only this strategy is truly heroic. Like a hero, I ignore the petty and raise my fist to the heavens. Now, for the final part, let's start deriving the fair value of ASTS. First, the underlying logic of valuation is market space. According to the S1 filing released by Musk's ASX this Wednesday, Starlink's potential global market size is as high as $740 billion. What does this mean? This is the total of the global population, hundreds of millions, without ground signal coverage, plus the aviation, maritime, and military emergency sectors. In this field, due to technological barriers and exclusive frequency bands, a natural duopoly is formed. So let's assume that by leveraging early partnerships with dozens of other top global telecom operators, we capture half of the market share, that is, a 50% market share. Taking Starlink as a benchmark, that's a $740 billion pie multiplied by 50%. That equals $370 billion. That's ASTS's peak annual revenue. Is this reasonable? China Mobile alone exceeds $140 billion, and ASTS operates globally, so $370 billion is justifiable. Regarding profits, crucially, once satellites launch, maintenance is minimal, making it a space-based money printer. The CEO of ASDS once said that in the future, the gross profit margin could reach 90%. Of course, we can't take that at face value, so let's be a bit more conservative and set it at 75%. After deducting later stage operating expenses, R&D, and depreciation, its ultimate profit margin can steadily sit at around 50%. $370 billion revenue at a 50% margin is $185 billion in net profit annually. For context, Apple, the world's top earner, makes about $100 billion a year. This means its mature earning power will be nearly twice as much as Apple's current profits. Now, some people might ask, if it makes that much money, how much will the capital market be willing to value it at? For a global monopoly in hard tech with high profit margins and a strong moat like this, let's look at the current PE ratios for reference. On Wall Street, mature firms usually get a PE ratio of 20 to 30, which isn't even high for US tech. $185 billion in net profit times a PE at 20 equals $3.7 trillion in market cap. Sounds like a dream, right? Hold on, let's first add in the most critical variable, dilution from stock options. I expect ASTs will issue shares to fund satellite launches, diluting existing stock. AST currently has under 400 million shares, but to deploy Bluebirds worldwide, it must continue issuing shares to raise capital. Assume an aggressive scenario where shares balloon 2.5 times, from 400 million to 1 billion. We'll divide the $3.7 trillion projected market cap by this diluted 1 billion share total. 3.7 trillion market cap divided by 1 billion shares equals $3,700 per share. Did you catch that? Even if I factor in the most extreme share dilution, the calculated share price is still $3,700. That's why, when I invest, I always make decisions based on real data. As a Wall Street analyst, our financial models are rigorous. That $3,700 share price is no random guess. It's the direct result of the space age and its dividends. But if you don't believe it, it doesn't matter. Time will prove everything. In Texas Hold'em, there are a few terms. All in means betting everything at once, and nice fold means making a rational, though regretful, decision to fold. But the term I appreciate even more is call. It's the backbone of making a firm choice, even when you know there's risk. I believe there's only one kind of heroism in this world, knowing the risks, yet still pressing forward with unwavering determination. Success requires courage. This week, I went all in on ASTS calls, taking my account from 880K to 1.35 million, a hero call for my live trading challenge. I achieved the perfect ending, and I also helped the 18,000 members in my fan group, letting them earn their first bucket of gold in life. Has the name Jinhua Erjiabo, the AST godfather, also become, in your heart, the bravest one? The hero who can give you strength in the face of adversity in the future? Turning $4,000 into $1.35 million, I proved small capital can grow huge in stocks and change your life. I started social media to show another possibility, a path without relying on parents or a 9-to-9 grind. Instead, by relying on your own knowledge and skills, you can gradually achieve self-sufficiency and financial independence in the stock market, eventually reaching financial freedom. I sincerely hope that every one of my followers can have this kind of possibility. Looking back at all the hardships and obstacles along the way, especially during those low points, I started to learn to enjoy being alone, and I began to appreciate failure because setbacks make my blood boil and pain only fuels my fighting spirit. I believe that not a single step in my life has been taken in vain. In fact, the vast majority of success comes from enduring countless hardships and persevering through them. Every true seeker of enlightenment has gone through a period filled with torment, loneliness, confusion, fear, hardship, and feeling wronged. But it is precisely in these darkest days, with all these negative emotions and the constant experience of pain, that pain forced my rebirth, breaking and rebuilding me to rise from ordinary to great. This $4,000 to $1 million trading challenge hit $1.35 million, a 337x return. Money is just a number. It only gains meaning when we give it significance. That's when it truly has real value. I won't keep gambling with this money anymore. I want to withdraw it and enjoy life. I believe the highest state of life is actually to earn enough money as early as possible, then step away from the hustle and bustle and go do what you really want to do. No longer troubled by money, no need to struggle with life, just living each day in a way that feels comfortable to me. That's the most enjoyable way to live. And taking this opportunity, I also want to say goodbye to all of you who have accompanied me throughout the Real Shot series. With this, the series officially comes to an end. There won't be a sequel, nor will it restart. But please believe, not every farewell means a true departure. It's just a journey, quietly tucked away into our shared memories.